Hey, I'm back with another question that I was asked during the self-love workshop, and I want to answer that here because I know a lot of you would benefit from it. So here's what one of the beautiful participant of the self-love workshop asked me. She said, "What's the line between changing oneself based on what would be considered right versus being inauthentic?" So in a sense, what she's asking is, how do I know what aspects of me to change and how much to change without losing my authenticity, right? And here's what I want to say to that. The only right is what you want, what's aligned with what your soul craves, because there is no right outside of you. There are just rules and bunch of things that people have told you on what's right, what would be considered right, but all that is just their thoughts about how they see the world. It has got nothing to do with you. So the only definition of right ever is that aligned with what I want, because I am a unique soul. I came here with a unique purpose, and is that aligned with what I want? Now, the way we have been raised as children and the way we have been we are conditioned in the societies, we always look for right outside of us, right? So somebody told us, this is not right, this is wrong. We take their thought. Now, what we don't look for is that's their thought. That's the way they see the world. That doesn't make it right. It's just how they believe that would be nicer. And why do they want us to behave that way? Most of the times it's because they think when we do the right thing, then they will have a better time feeling good about themselves, because they don't trust their own ability to feel good without you being right. So the only right is when you want to change. So when you ask me how do I know what is right and how much do I change, well, here's the truth. If that change, any change that you want to make because of the other people, because that should be right, because you're not already doing right, that's inauthentic. Because that's not the reason for change. Is not because you want to do it. The reason for change is because somebody else wants you to change. That's already inauthentic, right? So the only reason which is comes out of authenticity for change is because I want to do it, because it feels good to me, because that's my journey, because I have the freedom to be whoever I want to be in this world, and I choose to be this way. And ironically, when you have that fuel for change, then the change happens way more smoothly and way more easily, right? And you don't have to struggle your way through it. So, my friend, any change that you are making out of what's right versus wrong already assumes that you're wrong, already assumes that somebody else outside of you knows what's right, and there is no other authority. It's only you versus you. Well, what am I used to being like, and who do I want to be? And the truth is, as much as this framework logically would make sense to you, it doesn't mean in implementation you can just do that, right? Because for years together, for decades, for the women I work with, you're probably 3 or 4 decades into outsourcing that authority to other people and asking them what's right and believing them when they say this is right versus this is wrong, right? So taking that authority back inside of you is already a lot of work. That is what authenticity means. So I would say the first change that you always make is taking that authority back and asking yourself, who do I want to be? What do I want? And if you can just ask this question every day in every situation where you have a conflict, it would give you so much clarity about yourself and where that conditioning, where you're operating out of compulsions, right? And the second thing I want to say is, who you are is always changing. It's not like you're fixed in stone. What you want today is going to be what you want tomorrow or next year or even next moment. We're always changing. We're constantly gathering information about ourselves. What we thought probably few years or months ago or even maybe a day ago might change now, and that's a beautiful thing. We're evolving beings. So the only and that brings me back to the original piece that I was talking about. The only authentic thing is, am I being true to myself, my desires and my authenticity? And here's what I've found. I know that many of you feel like, okay, if I start to be authentic, I would somehow hurt other people. Yes, temporarily it may look like that you're hurting other people because you have already made them dependent. You have been jumping through hoops just to make them happy. You do right so that they can feel better. So those people may get temporarily disappointed in you, but I promise you in the long term they will adjust, because you will become so clear with what that alignment. You will start prioritizing your alignment between you and you so much that your energy will radiate and give others the energy to do that for themselves. Give them the belief that they can be authentic too in your presence. You would stop controlling them. You would stop trying to tell them they're not right. Like most of the times, I know I was critical in my job for me because of whatever conditioning I had had, and the same I projected outside. I was a terrible manager. I would not appreciate my people, and I would just be constantly looking for what they've done wrong. And it took me time to decondition that, right? And that's the work we all have to do. So that's my answer, my friend. The only authentic thing to do is to really evaluate, who do I want to be as a free individual? Who do I want to be, and where am I outsourcing that authority to other people? So that's all I have. Hopefully this answers your question. Bye.